like so much of this, and it's a topic we've come back to a few times in various interviews and discussions we've had, is that if we need to somehow libidinally disinvest from the frenetic pursuit of something that will help us lack the lack, we've got to somehow find a way to detach, to have a community of people where we can enjoy the lack, right? So all of this comes down to that. That's a very hard thing to do, but the core of my work is trying to help people get to a point where they're not pursuing this sacred object, the object that will make them whole and complete, which just becomes junk as soon as you've got it. Or it maybe takes a year before it becomes junk, but it becomes junk eventually. Is if we can do that, if enough people in a city or a world can do that, that will fundamentally change the economic world, the cultural and religious world. Like, it'll fundamentally transform society if we can get enough people to libidinally disinvest from this pursuit. And that's what I think you guys are doing. You're part of this attempt to help thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people from disinvesting from a frenetic pursuit, still enjoying stuff. Because that's the funny thing about being human, is we can't completely differentiate need from want.
Right.
For example, we can't be pure need-based. Like, even if you're just eating food, we eat particular types of food. It's like we're not like an animal that just eats for fuel. Everything is a dimension of need and want in it.
Yeah, so even the ascetic tends to pursue some wants.
Yes, there's all in there. So it's the junk that's the problem. Like, I like the 3 buckets. Thing fell off. Oh, that was I'm making a point.
That's right.
So if we can find a way to somehow disinvest from that pursuit, enjoy the lack, experience grace, then I think that we will be freed from this kind of perpetual kind of buying and consuming products. And I think that is not just personally useful, I think it's politically useful.
Yeah, 100%.
This is what I meant by the difference between religions of hedonism, religions of nihilism, and the religion of the absurd, right? So religions of hedonism say, you buy this or you have this, you do the right thing, you marry the right person, you have enough money, whatever it is, and then you'll be everything will be wonderful. That's that. Religions of hedonism, secular and sacred. Religions of nihilism are get rid of your desire, get rid of everything but the bare minimum, just stop desiring, that's the way out. The religion of the absurd is a kind of weird thing where you go, we do desire, we do want things, but we don't frenetically try and find the thing that will fix everything. And so weirdly, you're in this thing of, you do want things, you maybe want a better car, you want to just this or that, but you're freed from this, seeking after it. So basically, if you feel you're in the religion of nihilism or religion of hedonism, there's the problem. But in the middle, there's like, you can desire, you can have stuff, but you're not like caught up in the suffering of it. It's
Yeah.
Talk to me about raveling and unraveling.
Oh, yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. I mean, that's an example of earlier when we talked about the lack of the secret to the secret of the lack. Is to unravel is the experience of coming apart. The experience coming apart. And the first time...
It has a negative connotation.
Yeah. Like the first time you question your cultural or religious background, you feel like you're under threat of unraveling, of everything coming apart. And we think that what we need to do is knit ourselves together again. Either keep the thing that we've got together or find the thing that works. So move from one religion to another, for example. Whereas I argue that we need to move from unraveling to raveling. So not from unraveling to knitting together, but to raveling. And the funny thing about raveling is to ravel means to pull apart. It's exactly the same as unraveling. It means exactly the same thing, but it doesn't have that negative un.
In fact, it has a positive. It sounds positive to me.
You're raveling. You revel in your raveling, right? It's this beautiful experience of going, yeah, I'm pulling things apart. I'm questioning, I'm doubting, and there's life in this. So the movement is not, say, from unraveling to holding it all together, but to rather just change your position with regards to the experience of unraveling and see within it something deeply positive. That's what I meant by you go into the doubt and then you find something that is secure in the doubt. You go into the chaos and you find something that's peaceful in the chaos. You go into the darkness and you find something that is light within it. I mean, that's why in analysis, they will push you to the place you don't want to go. They don't do that because they're sadists, right? Oh, I'm going to make you talk about your family because I know it's going to make you suffer. Right. The point is, you haven't talked about it. You're repressing it all. You're trying to not go open that door within you. And in analysis, they go, right, you got to open that door and you got to walk in, because they know that in there you will find healing. The wound is the healing. Because there's only two things you can do with lack, I would argue. And philosophically speaking, out, you can't get rid of it. So you got two options. You either find a way to embrace it within yourself, or you'll get someone else to carry it. You'll push it onto somebody else. So that's what scapegoating is. Like, funnily enough, scapegoating was a good thing. Right? In religion, the idea was we would all be fighting. We're in community, and then we get into fights and all the problems. And so then what we do is we jointly blame the goat. We create a goat and we say the goat's the problem, and then we kill the goat and we're all happy for a year, and then we all start to fight again, and then we get another goat and we kill the goat, right? So the scapegoat kind of like holds the community together. The problem is, of course, it doesn't solve the issue.
It's Band-Aid.
Yeah, Band-Aid. So the idea with someone like Girard is that we have to find a way to sacrifice the sacrifice. So there's the sacrificial model, and then we have to sacrifice the sacrificial model, which just means we all realize that the goat, we're putting our lack and our suffering and we're putting it onto the goat, but that's actually something we have to carry. We have to accept, we have to realize that the conflict that's within us, we're going to have to somehow make room for that and get a way for it to work well. And when you do that, then, you know, you haven't got rid of the lack, but you've robbed it of its sting. And by the way, sin just means lack. Original sin means original act. So whenever you read it religiously, you shall rob death of its sting. All it means is, can I say one thing about this? Is that when if I pay a debt, right? A debt is a nothingness. It's a lack. If I have no money, that's nothing. But if I have a debt, that's a nothing, it's something, right? Or if I'm not talking to you because we're both just enjoying a walk, that's not speaking. If I'm not talking to you because I'm angry, that's not speaking, right?
That's something.
So there's two types of nothingness: nothing that's nothing, and nothing that's something, right? So the challenge in life is, how do we render nothing that is something into a nothing that is nothing? And what that means is there's two ways to deal with the debt, which is a nothingness at something, where you have to do jobs you despise, you work too hard and it causes you a heart attack. Two things you can do. You can pay a debt, which means you fill the lack with money. Right? You go, oh, I owe you $10,000. There's someone's going to pay that debt. Or you can forgive a debt. To forgive a debt means you don't pay it, but you render the nothingness that is something into a nothingness that is nothing. I go, there's no 10,000, you don't owe me anything. Now, I think the forgiveness of debt is the central notion here, is that we always try to pay our debts. We try to fill the lack with cars and people and a reputation. We always try to pay the debt, fill the lack. But what we need is to experience forgiveness of the lack. And forgiveness of the lack is, oh, you still have it, but you've robbed it of its sting. And now you can have joy within it. And you're absolutely right. This is like debt. The funny thing is, in our society, there is no forgiveness of debt except for bankruptcy. And even then, you have to pay your student loans in America. So so debt, just simply is that metaphor for whatever that lack is that in our life that we feel like we have to fill. It's like, no, you don't have to fill it. You have to be in a space where you can experience forgiveness from it.